Plastic, present in so many aspects of modern life, can easily turn into a source of microorganisms such as fungi, viruses, and bacteria due to its porous surface. Your cell phone case has a bacterial load greater than 30 times that of a public restroom. In everyday objects, this might not pose a threat, but in the case of a medical device such as a 3D printed prosthesis or orthosis in direct contact with the patient's skin, could cause serious skin infections because of microorganisms lodged in it, hindering further treatment and raising the costs involved. This is the case for 40% of said patients. It was this number that pushed us to think and develop a way to solve the problem of bacterial load in plastics, especially those used in the 3D printing industry, once and for all. After months of research, we turned our attention to an emblematic material for our country, which would help us find a solution. Copper, one of the strongest bactericidal elements in the world, according to the EPA. Copper nanoparticles embedded into the material structure free copper ions that break the microorganisms' membranes and even alter their DNA, eliminating them completely and keeping the material free of pathogens. We're excited to imagine the global impact that a material like this could have in everyday life, in 3D printed objects for all users in all areas. A world free of bacteria. Amputees will benefit from this new generation of antibacterial materials. Industries and people will be positively impacted by this development. Industries such as veterinary and medical devices, food packaging, kitchen utensils, toys. We want to make plastic a clean material. We want to start the antibacterial 3D printing revolution. We need you to turn this project into a reality. Our material will soon be available. Sign up at copper3d.com so you can be one of the first people to try our revolutionary material. Help us start the antibacterial 3D printing revolution today.
Let me introduce you all to Dr. Naveen Thakkar. Doctor, very good afternoon.
Very good afternoon.
Yeah, so let me introduce you, gentlemen, to Dr. Naveen Thakkar. He is the secretary, honorary secretary for Indian Orthopedic Association. Thank you, sir, for your presence. And doctor wants to actually understand in terms of what and how this antimicrobial materials can do in a way to benefit the orthopedic surgeons. Sir, I think today it will be a great session to know and learn how the technology can benefit in a way overall for surgeons, because that's always been a challenge when it comes to sterilization of these medical devices, doctor. So I think today we will have some good learnings on the subject. So let me introduce you all to Dr. Claudio. Claudio, we will start with your presentation.
Over there, I'm Claudio Soto, medical doctor and chief medical officer of Copper 3D. I will start my presentation. Let me introduce a little bit Copper 3D. Copper 3D is a Chilean company, but with a global presence, specialized in copper-based antimicrobial 3D printing. We developed the first portfolio of antimicrobial 3D printing, starting a new sector in this industry. We have international validation of our product using ISO standards, and we won 2 NASA grants to develop our products. We are a Chilean innovation ambassador through Marca Chile, a government effort that support innovative companies here in our country. And we were awarded as a Material Company of the Year 2 years in a row. And we were selected as one of the top 5 most relevant companies in material sector in additive manufacturing worldwide. We are an FDA and EPA registered company. In our purpose, our why is we have materials to save lives. Let me share our value proposal. We have the ability to transform a regular material into an antimicrobial material capable of kill germs in all kinds of 3D print objects and solutions. For example, on the screen on the right, you can see from our material to transform this material, a filament for FDM technology, into an antimicrobial insole to address diabetic foot. We have conducted a lot of validations using ISO standards, and our material killed germs, and we tested against Escherichia coli, Salmonella, Pseudomonas, and so on and so forth. And we tested against human coronavirus as well in Institut Pasteur in France. And our timeline, we started under the umbrella of an academic program in Master in Innovation. And now, why not in 2022, we would like to start soft landing our product in Indian market. And finally, Graphy Map, we have materials for FDM technology, and a flexible material and a regular material made from biopolymers with antimicrobial properties. The materials, and why not final products as orthotics or prosthetics, and resins from technology SLA is different. It's a liquid material to produce a final medical device as a surgical guide, or orthotics and prosthetic as well. This was our first surgery made from liquid form. It's a resin with an intelligent design using an SLA 3D printed, and we came up with this final surgical guide. Then on the right, the device was used into a shoulder arthroplasty. And this is another case. We are address the antimicrobial personalized medicine. For example, we are producing a specific surgical guide with a specific injury of the patient, and then helping to the surgeon to better perform the final surgery. We received the feedback from surgeons regarding the shorter surgical time, precision in prosthetic positioning, and optimal surgical and functional outcomes. Some other applications, orthotic and a child with epidermolysis bullosa, and the other picture is from our customer in Brazil that are using our flex material, MD Flex, into maxillofacial surgery. And finally, maybe our product can be used in orthotic, prosthetic, simple surgical instrument, patient-specific instruments, surgical guides, why not, osteotomy guides, pins, surgical spacers, and so on and so forth. And of course, personalized projects. Another type of potential examples. And we invite you to be a part of this antimicrobial 3D printing revolution using our products, active material that kill germs, to help you to save lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for your inputs on the material part. Before now I introduce you all to Dr. Philip, I would like to also give you a brief introduction. This is for many who probably would understand the importance of what antimicrobial materials can do. We are strongly fighting with the infected disease and that are induced by bacteria and fungi, and also viruses and other pathogens. So although a variety of medicines, including antibiotics and chemicals, have been developed, since about 100 years ago, many challenges are still threatening human health. So such a drug, resistance and emerging novel pathogens. Therefore, the development of antimicrobial materials has in recent times boomed. So I think companies like Copper 3D has built this traction in terms of introducing these materials, and which has definitely has the efficacies and the functions of antimicrobial materials, and that is actually continuously enriching the advancement of material science and engineering, and that lies in our strengths and the ability to actually fight these infections. And now with 3D printing, things are becoming more consciously even better, because now with the same material, you have a filament base which can actually print through 3D printers, and you can actually have medical equipments and devices, and which actually makes and serves the purpose. And that's also the conscious effort for us to have a session, sharing the insights on the subject and the technology, and then also to have a discussion to follow. So may I now introduce Dr. Philip, who is an orthopedic surgeon and also an elbow specialist from Chile, Santiago. Doctor, thank you. Very good morning to you back in Chile. And we are all waiting for these cases that probably would actually also help the other doctors to know and learn in terms of where and which area you have been able to activate it. Please, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chibu. I'm Dr. Reinares. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, specialized in shoulder and elbow surgeon. Give me a second. I work in Santiago, Chile, in one private clinic and one work-related hospital. That's it. You can see my screen.
We can see it, doctor. Yeah, you can continue.
Yes, Felipe.
Perfect. I told you I work in one private clinic and one work-related hospital, and also I'm a vice president of the Chilean Society of Shoulder and Elbow Surgery. I want to present this. This is our history in preoperative planning and how to introduce the 3D PSI products in our arthroplasty. This is my COI disclosure. I'm a consultant on a couple of an international company related with the medical device, but it's not relevant with this presentation. I don't have any conflict of interest regarding this prosthesis and the development of the 3D printing guy. This is the more important thing for us. This is a classic sense of Benjamin Franklin. Called "If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail." In our specialty in orthopedic surgery, it's very important to plan, because we have to know where is the better approach. We have to plan what tools we're going to use. We have to choose previously the implant. We have to perform the step by step for avoid the major and the minor complication. With this plan, it's possible to reproduce our result. And it's very academic process. It's a very important academic process. But when we talk about preoperative planning, this is a classic slide of our foundation. It was I learned in my resident. We perform the preoperative planning based in the X-ray, and we draw the fracture in the patient, and we draw according to some templates, transparent template. We draw the plate and screw, and we perform the surgery in our hands previously to the patient. But it's a very old-fashioned technology and vintage technology according to the preoperative planning. we continue, we learn more, the technology improved, and in the beginning of 2010, we start to use this preoperative planning. It's a software developed for some company, and this software with that software is possible to perform the preoperative planning and choose the correct implant. We can make the osteotomy and the cut, and we can move the X-ray, but it's also based in an X-ray. And we know this is my first case of shoulder arthroplasty. It's very long time ago. This is an old woman. It's a mother of our hand surgery of the hospital, and she have a fracture of the proximal shoulder on the proximal humerus. And we make and we perform the preoperative planning with that software. We evaluate the height, the implant, and we have the similar result and good clinical result after 7 years. But this is the initial step of preoperative planning with a computer and with a software. The evidence and the literature show us that the X-rays is less accurate than a 2D CT scan, and for that reason we start to use not X-ray, and now we use it the 2D CT scan. And we have a lot of methods to try to understand the anatomy of the proximal of the shoulder and of the glenoid and the proximal humeral head, and we can improve and we can make some lines and some angle for try to understand and try to planificate or perform our preoperative plan for our shoulder arthroplasty. That's what I learned in my first fellowship and in my second fellowship in Paris, France, with a well-known shoulder surgeon, Philippe Valenti, and we perform this. We take the CT scan and we make a lot of line and angle and circle and try to understand the correct anatomy and try to choose the best implant for our patient. But the literature improved, and they have some papers in the PubMed, and they show the 3D the 2D CT scan is less accurately than a 3D CT scan. And for that reason, why don't use the 3D CT scan? And the company and a couple of companies developed this software. This is a standard software developed for company related with an implant, with a shoulder implant prosthesis. There's the main two, the two more important company. One is Tornier, now Stryker, develop a 3D software. We can perform the preoperative planning in a 3D model based in the CT scan of the patient. And another is a Zimmer Biomet company who developed that. And the main difference between two is one is with intelligent artificial segmentation, and in another hand, we need some engineer to perform the segmentation because it's a manual segmentation. But that's it. This is the platform we upload in the CT scan of the patient, and after all the angle and subluxation and the percentages given for the software, and we can it's like a tool, or it's like a computer game. We can perform the surgery in the patient based in the CT scan. We can choose the glenoid component, we can choose and we can modify the humerus component, and after that, the software gives us the range of motion, the glenohumeral range of motion free of impingement. Yes, it's a very important step for understand what is the best position of the implant, and with that academic process, we can understand better the patient and we perform a better surgery in our patient too. But the CT scan and the 3D model CT scan and the 3D computer software can change our idea or our plan in a couple of patients. If we can see the difference between, this is the first column, the difference between the 2D CT scan and the 3D CT scan, maybe in the 10% of the patient can change our preoperative planning according to the prosthesis. Because if we have more than 10 or 15 degrees of retroversion, we can change the prosthesis, pass from an anatomic prosthesis to a reverse shoulder arthroplasty. And for that reason, it's very important to understand the anatomy, because they can change, and the 3D measure can change our preoperative planning, not just the position or the type of prosthesis we use. The 3D model help, of course, they're help, because they perform the 3D model, improve our position of the glenoid component in the patient. Just perform the preoperative planning, just perform the academic process of preoperative planning, improve our results or our position, optimize the position of the glenoid component in the shoulder. but the technology improved now, and for case like this, it's a very difficult case because they have a not anatomic glenoid secondary to a fracture, and they have some problem with the anterior wall of the glenoid. How we can bring our preoperative plan specific to the patient? And for answer that question, we have a couple of technology, navigation system, virtual reality system, and PSI system. And this is the PSI, we use in this patient a PSI. This is a company PSIs is developed by Stryker now. And with the same software, we can reproduce our plan, choosing the best point and try to reproduce this plan to the patient and go and reproduce exactly the preoperative planning in the patient with this guy. Yeah, we can see in the picture of the surgery, we can reproduce our plan, especially in our patient, and obtain results like this. But the PSI help, of course, help. We have a couple of evidence who reveals the PSI technology in the shoulder arthroplasty is more accurately, is more reproducible, and we have less error in the position of the glenoid component. But we have some problem with that guy, because this software is very interesting, but it's very restricted because it's very expensive. The license is a software with a restricted license, and in Chile we have just 5 licenses. Only in the more bigger center who have more volume or prosthesis. I don't have that problem because I have 1 license, but it's not a democracy license because the old people, the most of the people can access to that technology. And the second problem is the manufacture and shipping time, because I have to print this guide in France, and they take maybe close to 6 weeks to have the PSI in my hand after the preoperative planning, and 6 weeks is a lot of time for a surgical problem. The third problem is the cost. This guy is very expensive. Is around 1/5 of the old cost of the prosthesis, and for that reason is very restricted to people who can pay that. And the last is not possible to use that software. It's very fancy software, but we can't use it in the more difficult case, in revision case, or in patients who have metal inside, like a previously ORIF or a plate or a screw. It's not possible to perform because they have interference in the software. For that reason, we talk with our friends of Copper 3D, and we try to resolve that problem with the technology we have. And this is one example. This is a female, 77 years old. They have a lot of pain. They have a proximal shoulder sequela after an NAV and for a 4-part fracture of the proximal humeral head. And he have a lot of pain, more than 1 year of pain, lack of forward elevation, lack of external rotation. They have a lot of a very low functional scores, and she have a rupture of the rotator cuff too. For that reason, we perform the 3D planification with our 3D designer. This is Diego Godoy. Diego Godoy is the most important person in this technology because they made all the preoperative plan. We in the beginning of our process with Copper 3D, we spent more than 2 hours to obtain the preoperative plan and the PSI. Now, in the last case of the last week, we spent 20 minutes or maybe 30 minutes in a virtual session to perform all the case, because in every case we learn more, and he have more experience in the software, in the CAD software, for make the modification and make the angle and the line important for us for our preoperative planning. And this is the step. Diego make the manual segmentation of the CT scan. After he already know what is my preferred angle for put a reverse shoulder arthroplasty in our patient and make some suggestion. After we discuss the specific point of and the specific plan for my patient, and after they perform a surgical guide. This is the 3D view of the surgical guide. After we Diego print that in a SLA technology, and even if the material is antimicrobial material, we have to sterilize that because it's an OR fashion, and we need to have the implant sterilized. And but the resin, the glaciarus resin, is very it's not soft, and it doesn't change with the sterilized process. This is a main difference between PLA and SLA technology on glacialis technology, because they don't suffer modification after the sterilization process. The sterilization process is a heat process, and the plastic can change the properties and make some deformity. And in this clinical setting, when I need precision, is a handicap if the material suffers some deformity. And this is the patient. This is a 3D printing. We put the print in the glenoid component, and in the old fashion, I spend maybe 20 to 30 minutes to understand the glenoid inside and correct and can reproduce my plan without a guide. I have to choose the correct line. I have to choose the correct version and inclination. And now I spend 2 or 3 minutes to put the guide, put the PSI, put the guide, and after run with my patient with the arthroplasty. The time in the OR is very important, because if I spend a lot of time, I have more risk of infection too. And this is the result of our patient. This is absolutely beautiful postoperative X-ray. I have a perfect position of the glenoid component and a good position of the humeral component. We are working on it, humeral guide too. Now, what is the advantage of this technology? First, it's an open license software, because the old people can do this. Second advantage is the manufacturing and shipping time spent just 2 days. In the most of the case, we have the meeting in the Sunday evening, and in the Tuesday or 2 days after, I have the guide in my hand. The third is there's a low cost process or low cost product. It's very important, because the people in the public system can have access to this technology and improve their result for shoulder arthroplasty. I can use it in a revision case like this. I can use with a prosthesis previously, a revision prosthesis, or have a ORIF or IF, because it's a manual segmentation. 5, I have direct communication with a 3D designer. It's very important, because I know what my patient needs, and we can have a good communication for a good result in our guide. The 6th advantage is antimicrobial effects. It's a very important in the OR, because we have less contamination in the material we have in the OR for arthroplasty. The infection of the arthroplasty is a really disaster. We spend more money for the infection prosthesis. We already don't have in the surgical guide. We don't have any patient with an infection, but we still use another things. And the last advantage, we can sterilize the product with the sterile technology, and we don't have any deformity of the material. It's very important, because we need to be precise for that. But this technology works. As this is the last slide. We designed a retrospective cohort study design with 10 patients in every group. This paper is already writing. We're gonna present that in the Shoulder and Elbow Society. The Congress is in 3 more months. It's very interesting, because we have prosthesis result with the prosthesis with 2D planning alone. 3D planning alone, and the third group is 3D planning with Cooper 3D PSI. If you see the graph, this is a precision graph. The more precise prosthesis is when we have 0 to 0, and we can see the error according to the prosthesis with a 3D printing guide, and it's very precise. So very precise. The area is very small. The point is very converged to the center, and the error of that in the inclination is less than 1 degree, and the inversion position is less than 1.5 degrees. For that reason, this technology works. It's very important for us to use it because we improve our result, and probably we improve the survivorship of the prosthesis secondary to that. That's it. Thank you very much for the time. You can follow me in the social media too. I'm gonna leave.
Thank you, Dr. Philip. I think it was very detailed in terms of the clinical side of it has also been covered. Now we will actually, take our course with our panel discussion. Dr. Vikas, thank you so much for your presence now. And now we will start with you, and then may I request you to lead the discussion.
So, thank you, Claudio, and thank you, Dr. Philip, for that wonderful presentation all the way from Chile. This was something new. Before I really take it ahead, I would like to introduce all the doctors who are there. We have Dr. Abhijit Salunke. He's from...
Hello, sir.
And he is the onco-ortho surgeon doing huge volumes of onco surgeries in Gujarat, and probably is very well known in India. We have Dr. Jawahar Jetwa. He is again an orthopedic surgeon. He's a trauma surgeon. He's an inventor. He's an innovator. He is greatly involved into newer technologies. Always a learner, and he always would like to learn something new that is coming from different parts of the world. We have Dr. Naveen Thakkar, a very great orthopedic surgeon. He is the honorary Secretary General of Indian Orthopedic Association. And then we have a great person from the medical device company, and that is Mr. Sushant Banerjee. And he has a very beautiful implant manufacturing company, predominantly focused on manufacturing of the hip implants, shoulder implants, and the elbow implants. And so all of us, those who are here, are brought into one ecosystem, and to connect each other is Mr. Shibu John. So he is there, by verge of 3D Graphy. He has created an ecosystem and a beautiful seminar that we have. We have maybe, what we can do is, with the presentation that Claudio has given from Copper 3D, and with Dr. Philip, who's given a beautiful presentation on use of PSI, patient-specific implants using 3D technology, and he's compared that with the available possible 2D and 3D programs, software programs, is given the negatives, advantages, disadvantages, and then ultimately he's concluded that the best result that he gets as far as the glenoid placement and as far as the implant placement in the reverse shoulder is from a PSI, and that is customized implant with support of Claudio, your company, Copper 3D. So we'll start with Dr. Abhijit. What would you like to say about the type of work that you do, and how do you think antimicrobial implant as well as the technology that Dr. Philip is talking about would be helpful to you?
Yeah, so Dr. Claudio, have you tried this in any mega prosthesis? Means bigger joints. We are replacing whole femur, whole humerus. So can it be applied in that type of joint?
No, thank you for the question. Now we develop the materials for the technology and resin for SLA technology. Now we are starting with Dr. Felipe and other doctors in clinic just test in shoulders surgeries, but we are open to try to start. But we need key opinion leaders in different parts of the world to start producing personalized projects. I don't know if you are following me.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Because we are using customized joints, we have tried for talus, 3D printed talus. So Vikas sir and we did a case on 3D printed talus. Then we are regularly using 3D printed scapula. So for the all odd bones, we have done multiple cases of 3D printed scapula also. So it is good results. So we can try this technology in our cases that we can collaborate on some case, plan with copper, and this can be done because ours is a government cancer center, so it's a very high volume center, and we can definitely collaborate on this project.
Oh, perfect, Felipe.
But I have the question because the material we now see with Cooper 3D, I don't think it's possible to replace now, for example, the titanium of the chromo cobalto prosthesis, because it's not the same. They don't have the same biomechanical characteristics. For that reason, I think this 3D technology is related with we try to help surgeon to put a standard or a custom made prosthesis, but the material of the custom made maybe it's gonna be with titanium or something like this. It's important to perform the guys for I think for a osteosarcoma, for example, for obtain the negative limits, but it's not for replace the scapula, for example. I think because the PLA don't have the same characteristic, or the resin or the LSA, they don't have the same characteristic. And I'm not gonna feel comfortable with a 3D scapula printing with this technology. I prefer to use this technology for improve my result in the surgery setting, but probably I perform the custom-made implant with a special company to develop in a titanium. I don't know if Cooper tried to expand their technology to a titanium too.
Yeah.
But this is an answer.
Yeah. Thank you for your question, Felipe. We tried last year in the University of Barcelona produce an antimicrobial titanium. With using a different technology for of the 3D printing with some good results, but it's a development. Right now, we are not able to produce in a large scale this type of material, but we are thinking in the near future to move forward or to increase our portfolio.
Yeah, that will be really helpful for us. So any comparison between your material and silver coated implants? So you have tried that, anything?
For implant?
Silver coated implant. They say that silver coated implants are also decreases chance of infection. Silver coating.
I'm sorry.
Nano silver.
So, Abhijit, I don't think, they are. So, I tell you, what Claudio has given us is basically a resin and a polymer based 3D printing, where he has been using copper ions predominantly for antimicrobial property. What you are asking is the silver ions, which is again a newer development into 3D technology. It will still come where the silver ions would be used for antimicrobial properties in metallic implants. However, probably that is not within the scope of the present work that Claudio is doing. Right? That is what we understand. But yes, you are very right. The future of antimicrobial implants. Yesterday I had Mr. Sushant Banerjee, and we are already started to work on having hydroxyapatite coating combined with silver ions, which would be released in a very specific manner, which will enable our hip implants to be declared as a antimicrobial implant. However, this is just on a discussion. This thing, I think it may not be too pre-early. Is it right, Sushant? You can say something on that, Mr. Sushant.
Good evening, everybody. Good
Hello.
evening, everybody.
Can I speak?
Yes, hello. We are working on that. Our research team has already, Dr. Vikas has already given that punch yesterday, and we are working on that. And hope very soon we will come out with some solutions on that. I have already spoken to some IITs there. They say they have a solution, but it needs to be worked out. It needs little bit of research further. I hope we will come out very soon. Yeah.
Dr. Philip.
Yeah, Mr. Phil, Dr. Philip.
I don't know exactly the Indian regulation according to development of the product like this, but in Chile is very strict, and the line of Cooper 3D. I'm a user. I'm not. I don't have any conflict of interest according to the development of the system, but I'm like user technology. The line according to time to the Cooper 3D, they perform a good develop of their product because they have an FDA approved, they have EPA approved, they perform a lot of study according to the antimicrobial performance in a very difficult class 3 laboratory. For that reason, they're hacking the PLA product and they hacking the resin product. I think the next step probably is going to be hacking the metal, aluminum or titanium or something like this. But it's very important to continue this line or developed line is very strict. It's a good way to do the things.
Hello.
Because it's not just put some medical device in the metal or put some copper or silver or something.
फोन पर आटला બધા પેશન્ટ કઈથી યાદ હોય ત્યાં પહોંચીને હોસ્પિટલ જઈને મને વાત કરો.
There's something
in
the backside, but it's very important to continue this line because it's very strict. Not just put something in the metal, is continue develop and look for the accreditation and international accreditation for have some backup from our products or their products.
True, you are very right, Dr. Phillips. So you know what, our innovations and development in India also has a very stringent process, So we have very recognized institutions. The research happens at those institutions, and once the research has happened, these researches are properly documented. We go through the proper licensing procedures, and then only we go ahead with a product which would come into the market, which would be usable. So it is not that we just develop and we implant a product into a patient. So to give you a very good idea about how things work in India, we have very stringent laws. There are a lot of certifications, legal compliances, which every medical device company has to follow before those medical devices can be implanted in a company, in a patient. From the presentation which Mr. Claudio had given, we saw maximum number of the products which were seen were more like orthotics. They were like and implantable device probably was one which you had shown, which was the resin polymer which was used for the reverse shoulder as far as the glenoid placement is concerned, right? But however, the metal is definitely customized implant would definitely be going into metals, cobalt, chromium, peat, and titanium. These are the next three things which we are looking at studying. However, we would like other panelists also to ask questions. Dr. Naveen, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Can you listen me?
Yes. So, Dr. Naveen, we would like you to give your input.
Yes, I was listening to you all. There are two possibilities. One possibility is not possible with the 3D printing, and that is coating of the implant with the nano silver or anything where the base of the implant is a good material biomechanically. It cannot be only a copper. Copper will not withstand the complete forces. So it is a biomaterial to be layered on the implant itself. Is a maybe a totally a different technology,
Different ballgame,
where
yes.
it may come with the layering on the existing implant and make it bioactive.
Exactly. Some
Right?
problem with the audio? Naveen bhai, you can continue.
No, that was my thinking that we were
Yes,
mixing
you're very-
two issues. We were mixing two issues of coating the antibiotic or any microbial on the implant and have a microbial implant which are of a smaller size, which is going to be replaced by other biomaterial, which is not possible with the orthopedics, where joint replacements, which has to sustain major forces. It cannot be from the copper or anything else metal.
Exactly. Perfectly right. So you have any questions that you would like to ask Mr.
Really,
Audio?
that was the only question. That was the only question. That is there any possibility still in the 3D printing that whatever the implant is available, it can be layered with the antimicrobials, just like spraying the antibiotic which Dr. Jawad Jetwa has made with the Matrix company. It has a layers, 3D printing, complete layering on that, just like hydroxyapatite. You said hydroxyapatite is again not a 3D printing.
Claudio, you have some idea? Would you like to put in
It's a
some?
plasma coating.
Yeah.
Hydroxyapatite is a plasma coating.
Can you
It's a
repeat me,
plasma coating.
please? I can hear you perfectly well. Can you?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, the issue which Dr. Abhijit asked about the nano silver implant, that is the covering of the nano silver to have an antibiotic as an antibiotic combat the infection. But the prosthesis, whatever the custom prosthesis they make for mega prosthesis for replacement, that cannot be of the metal which you are trying to use for layering to make an implant bioactive implant. Is it true?
Sorry, I can understand perfectly well. Dr. Chiu, can you help me with the correct?
Yeah. So what doctor is trying to ask is that whether there can be a coating. Do you have separate material? Now that we know that 3D printing can print a part or like a model, right? Can it be like a material which can be surfaced on the implant? Is that so, doctor? Doctor?
Yeah, 100%. Because whatever the material you are doing with the 3D printing, will it sustain the forces for a long time, just like tumor prosthesis? Because still that material is not available for 3D printing and making customized implants. Jigs are available. You can use the jigs. You can do that. You can still develop a this cobalt total talus, which has been done by Dr. Vikas Jain and Dr. Abhijit Salunke. But still there is nothing like bioactive material on the implant. You are talking about the complete biomaterial implant, and I am talking about the layer of the bioactive on the implant. These are the two different things.
Yeah, which will be actually placed in the body. It will be implanted. Now here it is. I think Dr. Claudio, what we understood is that this will be more for surgical guides and pictures that we can use this material, right? In terms of 3D printing, and then so basically medical equipments which can probably need not be sterilized. You can still use it because that actually helps to make, so you don't need to be really bothered about infection. So that is one. So what are the various features that the material can give us? So just to elaborate, so I think everybody, it's more simplified. Doctor, can you hear us?
I can tell you my experience with this technology and what I think where is going to be the future with that material, because we probably have two different conversations now. One is related with a metal antimicrobial implant. This is the objective of this presentation. because the technology now related with put some copper inside the material is not possible now. I think, I don't know, but I think, and the Cooper 3D, they put the nano copper inside the filament or the resin, and for that reason it's an antimicrobial material. But I think the future of this conversation is according to personalized device for health surgeon to perform the surgery easy, available, cheap, and expend less time in the OR. If we have that four things, we can operate more patients. The company and the insurer is gonna be more happy with us. The precision of the implant is gonna be more precise, and for that reason, the survival of the prosthesis of the normal, not custom performed prosthesis is gonna be better. If we put the implant better, the survival is gonna be best or more. And another thing is democratize the optimum position of the implant for all surgeons. For example, I am high volume reverse shoulder arthroplasty shoulder. If I put a shoulder replacement, probably my prosthesis is gonna have less error for the position of the component, because I'm in the superior part of the curve and the learning curve. But the most of the people who put a reverse shoulder arthroplasty in Chile, I think it's gonna be the same in all world, don't put too much prosthesis in the patient. And for that patient who gonna go to a surgeon who put less volume prosthesis, they have to be the same opportunity to have their prosthesis in perfect position. And for that surgeon, it's important this technology, because they're gonna have the option to spend less money, not too expensive system, quickly, easy, and they don't gonna spend too much time in think in the OR. They have to spend time previously to OR to put the prosthesis perfectly. And this surgeon who put 5 to 10 prostheses per year, this patient gonna have the opportunity to have the implant perfect according to the clinic component, but perfect. This is the more important things with that, because it's a cheap, available, easy, and they have the property of the antimicrobial. This is a plus of the implant. The very important plus, but the most important things is democratize the optimal medicine or the custom medicine for not for the top surgeon, just for the post resident or the less volume surgeon. This is the most important thing. This is the future. This is the most important future of this.
Dr. Philip, we clearly got the idea about the ESI, and predominantly acts as a perfect stick for you to position your glenoid head right there. However, as you rightly said, the discussion had gone into the metallic implants and the coating on the metallic implants. Probably Dr. Jawahar Jetwa has a lot of innovations and ideas on that. So we can also listen to what Dr. Jawahar Jetwa has to say on this.
Yes, good evening, everybody. On this discussion that copper 3D is not an implant, it is a jig. It is an assistant surgery where you put your implant in a proper direction or proper placement. Is it true? So there is nothing which you are going to leave inside the body which is manufactured by you. Is it true? Am I getting correctly?
Yes.
Yes. So now the point is that we are using so many jigs, so many trauma surgery. We are using so many jigs for passing our locking screw, because some of the jigs are having inside metallic liner that you are going to pass your vibrating saw, the bone saw, which is going to cut that particular bone into that particular direction according to jig. So they are inside coated with a metal. And those, if they are not very careful, then the whole jig is broken, and then you do not know where to do osteotomy and what to do. All your plan will be difficult. So those things are there, and I have gone through multiple such discussion, and in all those multiple discussions, I found people discussing about all these practical problems. But it is good you people are doing so much in great detail, and as far as it is to be used outside the body and not to be kept inside permanently. It can be used during surgery, but not inside. There is a big scope, big scope everywhere. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, doctor. I think Dr. Vikasji actually is coming to Mumbai. He had to travel, so he's actually had to take a leave. So yes, doctor, as you rightly said, this is not going to be for actually permanent implants. This is actually going to be for planning the surgery, for jigs, having these medical devices. You don't need to sterilize it anymore. So this will be something that has been looked at. Thank you so much, doctor, for your inputs and everybody who shared. Now, quickly, I would also want to understand from Swarupji and also Sushantji, because both are entrepreneurs and they are also in the space of 3D printing and also offering solutions to the end users like doctors who are sitting here. What do you think about this material?
I have only one question from Claudio. That is that today there are metal wire filaments which are available for 3D printing titanium. Now, since there is a wire form available of printing the 3D parts in titanium or in any other material like stainless steel 316 and 17/4, can this antimicrobial element be introduced in those formation of those filaments as well?
That's interesting, sir. Yeah.
See, we work with metal filament.
You're on mute.
You are on mute.
Dr. Claudio, you're on mute. You had to say something. You're on mute here.
Yeah, now, okay, we are able to introduce our secret sauce, our additive based on copper salt in different elements. We are able to produce, PLA, CPU, PATG, and we last year, as I said, we started to try to introduce our antimicrobial additive into different type of metal with preliminary good results. That is the reason, because in our pipeline in the near future, we are trying to move forward from polymers to metal, but we are a small company and very young company, and now this is a more complex develop. Now we are applying to some type of funds here in Chile to precisely develop antimicrobial metal. It's antimicrobial.
So, Dr. Claudio, if you can share, if we only have to, instead of buying the PLA, there are two questions which come up. One question is, what is the behavior of the antimicrobial material which you impregnate into the PLA in terms of temperature characteristics? If we increase the temperature of the part which is produced by 3D printing to about 800 to 1000 degrees, at that point of time, because 100 degree of sterilization is no big business. The critical part is when you are making a metal part, you have to sinter it at about 1000 to 1200 degrees, especially the titanium. So what happens to that antimicrobial property? Are they remain or do they die?
If I understand, you are asking about the antimicrobial properties of the metal. Okay, it's correct?
No,
our
antimicrobial element.
Elements?
of the antimicrobial element which you impregnate in the PLA. Instead of that, if I impregnate it in the metal filament, at that point of time, when the part is produced, I have to heat it up to about 1200 degree.
Yeah.
Will my antimicrobial properties remain or will they not remain?
Yeah. It's remain. It's still working. We expect some type of oxidation process because it's copper, but we are tested and the antimicrobial performance remains its work. Okay.
Okay, so we can actually we draw out a filament in metal. So we draw out a filament in stainless steel 316. We also draw out filament in 17x4 as well as in titanium. So do you think that your antimicrobial material, we can work along with you to be able to impregnate the antimicrobial fluid or the whatever is the composition into the metal filament to be able to produce the metal parts in the 3D printing?
Oh.
And with your, so we can draw out the wire for you.
Oh, okay.
I think I have a point here. I
Yes,
think
sir.
antimicrobial can be had only by coating on the surface of the 3D printed product. It
I
won't
see.
be. It cannot be impregnated
I
because
see. I didn't know
there
that.
is a technical difficulty, right?
Okay. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Felipe.
I think this is a what I understand of this antimicrobial property is not a chemical property. It's a physical property because they have nanoparticle of copper. This is a salt of copper add to the property of the filament, and they have some percentage of copper and percentage of PLA. Yes, this is I'm
Yeah, you're correct.
Oh, then I can
it's
do
not-
that.
It's not coated. It's not chemical product. For that reason, I think in metal it's not going to be easy because you have to change the percentage of titanium and the copper salt, and
Yes.
they can change the mechanical property of the metal. Whatever metal do you want, the stainless steel, titanium, chromo cobalt, whatever.
It's a
So
that
it's
reason,
a
I think it's
easier
not that
problem.
very interesting discussion.
It's an easier problem to deal with
Yeah, just regarding the
because it is
I
we do
have
print
one
in
question.
copper. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to know the longevity of the PLA implant that is 3D printed, because we are putting it on the shoulder as an implant. What will be the longevity of that product, of that implant?
I don't
Life.
put copper in patient. I don't put any part of the material in the patient. This is not the objective of the guide. The guide is help me for put a normal implant. I don't put any part of PLA, SLA, whatever in the patient because it's not approved.
It's a surgical guide.
yeah,
Sir,
It's a surgical guide. It's just a
it's a
surgical guide.
surgical guide, and it
So my
helps in,
point is that we
since it's a surgical guide. A PLA material when sterilized will change its shape. So what Dr. Claudio has been able to achieve is that he has been able to impregnate the PLA with the copper infusion, by which the material property, the TG value, which is the transformation value at a higher temperature, does not change the shape of the PLA, and these are infused PLA materials which are with typically 20% infusion which you achieve in the PLA, and with that 20% infusion you can get the TG value from 60 degree to about 110 degree, and that would take care of this.
But I
Yes,
don't
sir.
use PLA for shoulder guide. because if I put PLA in a sterilized machine,
it's not work.
they modify, they change the property, they move it, they change the position guide, and I need to be precise. If I use PLA, I don't going to be precise because they have some deformity of the component. For that reason, I use SLA resin and I use Sterat. Sterat is a heat sterilized process by go to 60 to 70 degrees, not to 200.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me.
Dr. Naveen sir, you would want to share?
Yes, so now the crux is that we have to have only one variable which is different, that jig used with the copper and jigs without copper, and the result. Other things should be constant. Then we can compare
Exactly.
what is the real effect of this to prevent the infection. Because our aim to make the jig with the copper with the antimicrobial is to prevent the infection. It is not an implant. It's just a guide
Exactly.
that has been used for 1 hour or 2 hours. And through the jig, infection can occur. That is our hypothesis. And that hypothesis has to be proved.
So, Claudio, do you have anything to share on that? What doctor did mention? Is there a study in terms of
Regarding the biocompatibility, let me
with your,
explain something. We
you
developed,
said that you have approved
developed first the antimicrobial performance using international standard 32196. Our materials are biocompatible. We tested, by the way, in laboratory in India, according ISO 10993, and we are able to say our materials are biocompatible. And regarding the production, we use, for example, PLA. We use 99% of PLA and 1% of our additive based on copper salts. And the percentage, the 1% of the copper salt are made from 75% of cell lines and inert material, and 25% of some type of copper salt. So maybe it's 25% of these 1%, and the 99% of the rest of material is the regular material. So we are able to produce material with antimicrobial properties and maintaining the mechanical properties we tested in the same thing. So that's my response.
How much will be the lynching? How much will be the lynching of that material during that using the jig in the body or in the fluids of the body? Is there any measurements done? How much material gets released
if you
locally?
are asking
and on saline was how much? On saline was how much it remains? So there are so many questions whether it is effective or not.
Of course. If we compare the toxicity of copper and regarding the percentage that we can use, is 40,000% less the amount of the toxicity level of copper, and I don't know, 2,500 less than the copper that you eat regularly, more or less. That's the proportion. Okay, and we are proud of our product, and we are a young company, of course, but trying to develop all the scientific protocols using international standard to be totally sure according the quality and the security for our customers.
So what is the genesis of this idea?
Oh,
How you came to this idea? What is the genesis of the idea?
yeah, I'm a
Because
physical
you must have
medicine.
seen something. You must have seen something with the copper that it's working like this.
Yeah, physical medicine. We have Dr. Piamanar, and I'm not orthopedic surgeon. I'm working on rehab. During the academic program Master of Innovation, I realized that many patients with amputations has problem with infections of the amputation limb. And they use prostheses and get infected. And regarding the material, we realized 40% of the patients gets infections from the material. So using the 3D printing technology and exponential technology, and here in Chile we are expert in two things, in wine and in copper, and it's very well-known material with the antimicrobial properties and nanotechnology and so on and so forth. So we mix this idea, this 3D printing technology and the copper antimicrobial performance, and finally develop this type of filaments to address the infections of people with amputation. That was the very, very first idea.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Claudio. Sushantji, what do you think in terms of the prospects now? Because you are somebody who is running an implant manufacturing company. What do you think about this material? What is the scope of this material going forward in the country?
There, as far as jigs and fixtures is concerned, and if we are talking about antimicrobial layers, this will definitely be of great help. As of now, there is a good, but we need to learn more, experience more, keep some more data, and then there will be definitely a good future ahead for all the surgeons to utilize this technology and have the antimicrobial instruments, jigs and fixtures for doing the surgery.
Yeah,
This
so it
will
is
be a
better
definitely
than a normal PLA or a ABS material. This becomes a better option in any case because it's antimicrobial as a device,
Yeah.
not for implants.
Yeah, as a
Obviously,
device.
that's not the
Yeah,
premises. The premises is that how it can actually be convenient for a surgeon to plan their with fixtures and jigs and to plan surgical guides can be also used, and also equipments which can be tailor-made, suiting the surgeon's requirement to make the surgery more fast and efficient. So they don't really need to bother about the sterilization, because most of the cases are also when it comes to infection, it is also because of sterilization. So I think we can sum it up. Surabji, what is your thought in terms of how the material can take shape, as in terms of a prospect that we see? So you're on mute actually. So you're on mute, yeah.
I think Dr. Sushant summarized it very well, and I have very little to add to what he said. And I think important factors to be considered is what Dr. Naveen and Dr. Jawad also mentioned, that how does this material lead to lynching? How does this material bleeds? How does this material react to the blood in the saline situation? Which I think Dr. Philip might have experienced it already. But I think we are talking to very experienced doctors here. And surgical guide, sir, is as Dr. Philip mentioned it, is critical for the people who are not as experienced as all of you are. So since you have such a vast experience of dealing with thousands of patients and correcting them, therefore the need of some of these guides is not so much felt, because you can plan it on the table itself. But there are certain people who are just maybe about 2 year, 4 year, 5 year experience who get benefited. and improve their operating skills with the surgical guides. But whether the microbacterial sterile guides will be helpful, or would the conventional guides be helpful, that's something which the doctors can evaluate it better.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. I think it was a very detailed discussion in terms of what technically the product and the material can do, and then subsequently also certain questions needs to be also taken into consideration when it comes to doctors in terms of how comfortable they might want to make it fit, and also in terms of certain accorded certifications, which Dr. Claudio also mentioned that they have been able to take care of. So I think it all comes to a point that how as a consortium we can see how this can take to how we can take it to the next course for us to also evaluate taking the process further. So thank you so much for sharing your insights and your inputs, and thanks for your time, Dr. Naveen sir. Thank you so much for your time. Dr. Jawahar sir, thank you, and also Dr. Abhijit, Dr. Sushant, Dr. Philip, thank you so much for your presentation, and also Dr. Claudio, and also Sarupji, thank you for your time and also your insights.
Thank you, Dr. Shibu, for creating such a very good seminar. Thank you very much for giving us a platform here.
It was really thought-provoking. So,
Thank you.
ideas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It was thought-provoking. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you everybody for spending your valuable time to get even a short time from doctors is always a challenge. Thank you, sir. It was a great learning, and I'm sure it was great learning for you both, for you all also to have understood what this materials can do. Thank you so much.
Just due to you, you made it interesting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. And also, just to remind you, I think the team will also, most of them here are also going to be joining for our 25th and the 26th 3D Graphy medical conference. I'm sure it will be more interesting. It will be a 2-day conference covering all the specialization, may it be orthotics and prosthetics and maxillofacial. We got some 18 medical associations registered, covering various topics. We are also going to cover on hard and soft tissues because that is also important when it comes to bony materials. We are talking about soft tissues in terms of how that can be a good possibility. So at length and breadth, everything to do with material science, design, and how 3D printing consolidation can actually help the medical practitioners across medical specialization. So hope to see you all during that session. I'm sure it will be a great learning, sir. And also Dr. Naveen sir is actually one of the key respondents of one of our sessions on orthopedics. So thank you, sir, for your active participation. So we will also have the IOA members to also benefit in the learning. Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful day, sir. Thank you, gentlemen.
Just send us the link for the viewers.
Sure.
Viewers,
We'll
so they can ask the questions and all the queries can be solved during the orthopedic part.
Exactly.
For IO members, right?
Thank you so much, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you.